Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about when narcissistic, histrionic people believe they've found their new target, their next new target, and they base this on that the person seems nice. Now, how many of us have, who are nice, good, decent people, have experienced that? I know I have many times. Then they'll show it. They're not very smooth with not showing it. The ones more like histrionic, I know some people think everything is narcissistic. I'm not diagnosing it, but I'm saying the behaviors. And the histrionic is more like on stage, very dramatic on stage. They have to be center of attention. They don't care if it's negative attention, positive attention, as long as they're the center of attention. And they're very loud. They laugh very loud. I call it a cackle. They dress very loud. Now, they don't all do the same thing, so not all of these will every one of them do. But they'll make sure often that you don't get to be the one that people point out. Like if you're a good, decent person, they don't want you to stand out. Like say if you're at work or something and you're a good, decent person, you're actually there doing your job, and the boss likes you, other people there like you, they don't like that, okay? Because they're the ones who are supposed to stand out. Although I have my personal experience with people that have this like narcissistic, histrionic blend of behaviors, they're usually slackers. They're not that smart, and they're slackers. They just want to socialize. Okay, they want to be on stage and everybody to look at them, these kinds of things, and to listen to them as though they're voices of authority on something they don't know anything about. At this time, now when they find someone who actually is good, decent person, they actually are what they are. They're not just creating it in their mind that they are, some voice of authority, that they know everything on everything like these do. Some of them, like I said, one size doesn't fit all in any of them. Okay, so now say that you go to work at a new job or whatever it is, and you run across this type, okay? Now, or maybe they could come to work there where you work. Or it could be any kind of group setting. Or it could be in your family and somebody marries someone like this and you're introduced to them and it's like, whoa. But if they see that there's a good, decent person, they may do this. They seem to want to put out there, especially if you're going to be the one that gets attention because of your behavior or how you are. They'll put out there try to put out there that you're a little bit, or they think this way, that you're a little bit simple-minded. Okay, that and they think to themselves that now this might be someone I can control, and use. They see the person that's a good, decent person as somehow inferior. Like, they think that superior good, decent person, kind, good, decent, that they are, that they aren't very smart, when in fact it's the one who sees things in these lights, the narcissistic, histrionic, toxic person, and whatever it is. And it's true that they're not. Okay, and they believe that the person who's good, decent, kind person, that they are very naive to the world. Okay, naive. They see them as naive and gullible. Okay, they believe, they think, and part of it is because their own focus is like money, power, control, being looked at as some kind of living example of how people should be. It could be like even their appearance. They're pretty loud in their appearance, so they'll stand out, and they may even dress, very provocatively, and whatever it takes to get them to stand out and have, it could be that they just kind of wild looking. And they believe that they are the standard that other people should follow. So And then when the good, decent people, they don't, you know, say, oh, they're just naive. They don't understand that what's most important is how you look, and that everybody thinks that you're good looking, or you're wealthy, or you're wealthy, and you see that they are the model. That's how they feel it. They are the model. And so the other people are just naive because they, you know, say they dress in just a regular, normal, everyday kind of way. Well, they could do better. You know, that's their attitude. They could do better. You see. Okay. Now, like I was saying earlier, another thing that they may do is they try to find a way to control and or use you. Okay. Now some of them don't do this. Like you know, they feel like, okay, to start off with, they feel like on this part that you are not that important. You know, you're a nice, good, decent people, and you may be at work with a bunch of people like that are not good, decent people. That instead they are more narcissistic, histrionic. They're all out for themselves. There are some people who just stay totally out of it, don't want to even, you know, get to know anybody. You know, different things, but because they've seen it. Okay, so, you know, with a lot of people just ignoring everybody else, and here it is, a good, decent person, you know, and then there's this narcissistic, histrionic one. Then that one will think that the good, decent person, they're just of no importance to anybody. You see, they're not important to anybody. So they think that to get you on their side so they can use you is that they make you feel important. That's the way that they do it. Now, they're not so smart, but you are. But sometimes people don't at first recognize this until they get to know, you know, that these people with these kinds of behaviors exist. You know, adults. They still act like they're the mean girls, mean boys from high school. You know, something like this. And it can take a while for people to really understand, because like when I was younger, there was not this kind of information out there, not as common as it is today. So for some people, yeah. And there's some people who aren't into watching or reading or have no reason to. But anyway, they try to get that person on their side. They try to get the good, decent person, you know, so they can use them. So they trying to make them seem important. And, you know, because what they want is, you know, like some people call them narcissistic flying monkeys. Some will call, you know, cronies or groupies even. There are various words that people can use. And, you know, what they're wanting really is something like if it's at work, they want somebody who's their errand, you know, run their errands for them. Oh, will you go get it? If you're going to lunch, will you get me something? You know, like this. And, well, if you're going to lunch, you might as well pick us all up something. You know, I had a boss who said that to me one time. Well, if you're going to take your lunch break, which you had to clock out for, you might as well pick up stuff for the rest of the people here. No, that's my lunch hour. That's not my lunch. Well, it's actually 30 minutes. It's not for everybody else, you know. But anyway, they also may want that person, if they can't reel them in as their scapegoat, they could also want them for an alibi. Like they're going to this new job, say, and their intentions, you know, they may be the type that takes stuff home from work and it's not work. You know, like whatever they can get away with, any kind of office supplies, whatever, they slip them in their purse, you know, pens, notepads, stickies. We used to call them stickies instead of Post-its. But you see what I'm saying? So they want that person to use that person for something. Okay, and if they can't, they make them the scapegoat, which is still using that person for something. Now, I feel like, you know, if enough people know enough about this type, then they would, you know, I was writing my notes here, then they would, if enough people know that the people who are in the, you know, the other people who just stay out of everything, they may be more aware and, you know, get to know the boss better. And when the new person starts that's already starting problems, already doing something, it would be good to be able just to go to the boss and say, hey, I really don't like this new employee. This is what they're doing. Because I don't know if you've ever worked, I have, when there's at least, my experience was that there's at least one of them, at least. Okay, I cannot recall any time that there wasn't. I'm not saying, I'm not that kind of that says always, every, all or nothing. I'm not that kind of thinker. But I can't recall. There would all, in a classroom, I was a career student, as a graduate and undergraduate and graduate at university. And there was always one, always one in a class. I'm not the type to say always, but I cannot recall when there wasn't at least one person. I need to think about that more, because it was more on during that time. Oh, there's going to be noise. But during that time, I was doing a lot of temporary work, and I would see this, quite often. But there was usually in a classroom, I can't say always, no, but there would be somebody who was more wanting to be the attention. You know how some of us would say, oh, that's a person who's very outspoken. That's a person who's, doesn't have stage fright. Or they're really opinionated, and they really get into whatever they're studying or the job or whatever. When in actuality, that person wants to be the center of attention. When more, it's not always, but the more people understand about these kinds of, personalities, I don't want to, and not diagnose them. That's not for us to diagnose. But, the behaviors of, that they have a little bit of behaviors of this. Yeah. When they really want to be center of attention. And, and a way of showing that, seeing it, besides learning about it, is, does that person always want to be? Most often. Or they cut somebody off when somebody else is speaking. Especially if it's someone who is similar to them, who's outspoken, who's, doesn't have stage fright, who, you see, they'll cut them off. Try to talk over them, whatever is the case. So they'll get back to be that center of attention. But I think it's important that we learn more about these as humans, of what to avoid, or what to, not really always avoid either, but to notice and be aware of. The awareness is important. Okay. And also another thing is that these are people who are used to being on stage. Some of them. Remember, this is not a one-size-fits-all. Read the disclaimers in the description box below this video on YouTube. But that they're used to being on stage, so they know how to act. And much of it is just that, an act. Okay, it's not, they know how to look like they're good, decent people, or look like they're voices of authority. Okay, I said there was going to be noise, and sure enough, yeah, lots of noise. But they know how to make people perceive them as that. And they may not, it could be that they don't know anything about what they're talking about. They really don't know. They really don't know. But they can put it out there as though they do. And they will dress whatever part they need to dress, probably a bit more to where they stand out. But they can dress appropriately if they want to. And they will do, like women will do a lot, and some men, with makeup to, to make them look the part too. Makeup, their jewelry. These often wear a little bit too much bling, or not a little bit, a lot of bling. And they'll do their hair a certain way, whatever it is, to look the part, to look, and they know how to use their voice to project that they have, they will say things in, like, they want it to be really solid, that they know. And how many have heard this, they will say everything like, well, everybody knows this, and nobody believes that. And it's the everybody, nobody, they want it concrete, absolute. So they sound to other people they sound as though they really know what they're talking about. It's because they're giving people this choice, yes or no, kind of thing. And other people will say, well, not like I have been saying. I didn't do that on purpose, but I always do. Always. Once I start saying that word, always. Oh my goodness! But I often do, make that statement that it's not one size fits all. But for this type, it will be one size fits all. And I've often heard, and not just them, but I've often heard them. They say it quite often when they try to make a point saying that everybody, this, nobody. They will often say these words. It's just common sense. Now, other people can do that every blue moon, but they don't do it. The other people, they don't do it as often. But the ones who with this will say, everybody knows that. That one. And it's just common sense. What, do people not have common sense anymore? Well, common sense is what they think of it with them. That they are the model for everybody, the way everybody should behave. And anybody else, these good, decent people, the nice, the kind, the ones who actually do their jobs, one who actually do the work to be what they are, do their homework, quite literally in some instances, to be who they are. No. Those aren't the models. It got that twisted. Yeah. Anyway, I'm wrapping this one up. I'll talk to y'all in another video.